Hello, Mark Morgan here. This is going to be a quick walkthrough of the settings adjustments you'll need to make on your student iPads when you update to iOS 7. Okay, so I'm going to open up the settings app, which looks a little bit different now. And if this crashes, that's a known bug. I'll just start it up again and pick up where we left off. Okay, so I'm going to start going through the sections on the left, starting with Notification Center. If you don't, and what notifications are the little icons that pop up at students or you when you turn your iPad on, pestering you to click on an app or various messages that will pop up at you. If you'd like to turn that off completely, you can flip this top switch off here, but you may find that you need certain notifications. What I've done is I've already removed some, but let me show you how I did that. A really important one is the App Store. We want to turn the notifications for that off so that students are not tempted to update apps using Wi-Fi. Okay. I clicked on the App Store icon under Notifications, clicking None at the top, and then I'm going to turn all of the green switches off. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing for any other apps that you don't want pestering your students, such as Game Center, FaceTime, or Messages. Okay, back over here to the left. We're going to go down to the General tab. We have several important ones here that will save battery life and also preserve your privacy as well as student privacy. Okay, the first one we're going to change is under Accessibility, and it's under the section Reduce Motion. So click Reduce Motion, and we're going to make sure that that switch is on. It's usually off by default. We're going to turn that on. That will really help save your battery. And we're going to go back to the General tab by just tapping it here. And then we're going to scroll down to Background App Refresh. It's on by default. Make sure that that is turned off. Okay. If auto lock is set to 2 minutes on your iPads, I would strongly suggest at least setting it to 10 minutes or perhaps even 15. Okay, really important one here, restrictions. We're going to turn that on, and in order to do so, you've got to enter a code. I'm going to recommend 0000. It'll make you enter that twice if you haven't done it before. By putting in your own code, that makes sure that students won't inadvertently mess around with settings and put in their own code, meaning they'll lock you out as well. There is one thing that I would suggest restricting on here, and that is deleting apps. So I'm going to turn the deleting apps switch off. This also means that you will not be able to delete apps from this iPad until you enable it via this restrictions page. So if you decide you want to delete an app, go into General, Restrictions, put in your code that only you know, and turn deleting apps back on, delete your apps. And then I would suggest going back in and restricting that once again. All right, let's go down to the Privacy section. Under Privacy, we're going to first click on the bottom one here, Advertising. And we're going to make sure that this is turned on to limit ad tracking. Okay, I just tapped the Privacy section again. This time we're going to go to Location Services at the top. And we're going to click on System Services. Now by default, all these switches are on. That's not good because it uses up bandwidth for completely useless things and sends you advertisements. So we're going to switch all of these off except for the top and the bottom. Okay, so off, 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 off. And I'm going to click back to Location Services and back again to Privacy, or you can just hit the section over here on the left. Okay. Now we're going to click on Photos, and we're going to do that just to double check to make sure that they're not sharing access to those. Okay, click next on the left. Click iCloud. If you have an iCloud account set up initially, you might want to just delete that at the bottom if you have a delete button. You can always add it in later when you know exactly what the ramifications are. Okay, back on the left here. We're going to click on Messages. If this was enabled, you want to click on your email, click it again, and then click sign out. Okay, this will make sure that your personal iPhone messages don't start showing up on your student iPads, which would be very, very bad. Okay, next on the left, click FaceTime. Same thing here, you want to log out, so click on if you're logged in already, you can click on your email here, click it again, and click sign out or log out. All right, scrolling down on the left, we're almost done. This is a biggie. I'm clicking on the iTunes and App Store here. You want to make sure that all of these switches are turned off. They're all turned on by default, so you definitely do not want to see green on any of these switches. Otherwise, books you order at home and apps that you order at home on your own device are going to start showing up. This is an extremely important one. Okay, let's look at photo and camera section. Making sure that photo stream and photo sharing are turned off. These two top switches, make sure they are off. Okay, now let's look at iBooks. By default, iBooks is set to sync your bookmarks and sync your book collections and then show all purchases you've made with your account. This can lead to wildly inappropriate books showing up on your student's iPad bookshelf. So make sure that these, you can leave the top two on, leave the third, fourth, and fifth off. Online content is fine. That's not internet access. That's just books that might have a link built into the book. Okay, but these three here are hugely important for your privacy and your students' safe reading. And that is basically it. Okay, once again, remember you will need to do this on each of your iPads unless you have not yet cloned them. If you haven't cloned them yet, do this to your master iPad before creating your backup, and then those settings will be replicated to the rest of your set. Okay? All right, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.